have a fantastic, uneasy life story. I know we can't do it in 57.5 minutes, but we're going to try to tackle the important pieces that you find, or relevant pieces, should I say, that you find in this story. Carolyn, how are you related, whether bloodline, initiation into this elite organization that is known throughout the world, the Illuminati?
Well, I'm not sure how far back it goes. My family came from Europe. I have my genealogy's been done by a couple of family members, and in that I have seen some interesting names, and I am aware of the fact that a lot of, well, not a lot, but a number of well-known people in the United States history are my ancestors. Some of the names that you might recognize are Andrew Jackson, Jefferson Davis. There's James Collinsworth, who is famous in the Texas history. The first Masonic funeral ever held in Texas was for James Collinsworth. A lot of my family line is they were top Freemasons. Not all of them. I'm not sure if they were strictly, like the pure Illuminati bloodlines. They're like offshoots. If anybody wants to look at my genealogy, they're welcome to tell me what I am. I was told what I was, but they didn't use the term Illuminati. But
what did they use, Carol?
They used the term Illuminati. It was illumined ones, which was, they looked at that as even above what people consider Illuminati. While I'm on the topic of some of the names, some people recognize names such as Brown or Ferguson, Dickinson. There's, of course, like Davis, Drake. There's Stanford, Robertson's another name. Some of my family members married into the Franklin family, the Bushes, the Windsors.
So the names you're giving us now, are they all names that you remember per se on a physical, visual basis, or are these just names that you know of?
Names that they're my ancestors. The closer ones would be have married into Franklin's, Bushes, and Windsors, and Robertson. It's as the family line got closer to me, fewer people were working directly with the government. Although my uncle was asked to work with President Truman, to work directly with him. I don't know exactly what that was about. I was not told, and in my family, you don't ask questions. If you were told that, it was strange that I was even told that.
So tell me this, Carolyn, what I believe the Extract Radio audience would love to know, myself included. At what age did someone, whether it be your mother, who was heavily into this, if I'm mistaken, your father, your handlers, who were your handlers exactly? And at what age did they grab you and say, this is what you're going to do, and how exactly did they do it?
Well, when I was a couple of years old, well, first of all, at birth, I could see things in the physical realm that most people couldn't see. I could see into the spirit realm, and I also had like clairvoyant abilities. Maybe all babies do, I don't know, but I never lost mine. And I was able to see angelic beings. In fact, the very first time I ever prayed was because a real angel came and told me to pray. That happened very early on in my life, which was actually godsend, literally, because that kept my mind centered in on Him, a Heavenly Father, because that's how He was presented. He presented Himself to me as a Heavenly Father. Nobody told me that there was a Heavenly Father, but that is how I met. When I said my first prayer, that is the presence that came to me and revealed Himself as a Heavenly Father and kept me through everything I've been through my life, led me through everything, through the organization and out of the organization. So now that I've got that out of the way, I'll say that when I was, since my mother was already working with some ascended masters since the time she was 16 years old, she had them giving her directions on how to raise me, just as they were giving me directions on how to raise my own sons. So I had my mentors that were in the body and out of the body. Now the mentors that wrote the children's books or the children's teaching material for Lucius Trust had me learning through their meditation techniques at probably around 4 years old, if not early, if not earlier than that. So
wow.
My mother was training me. She knew my ability, so she also was taking instructions on how to help me progress in my clairvoyant abilities, because she knew that she needed to do that before the age of 7, because if you can train a child before the age of 7, then you pretty well have it done. You have it set for them.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Now, when you say train, Carolyn, I've written a blog on a TV show called The Event, and I remember specifically how they take little children and they had them in this underground base. That's why I always say how the Illuminati tell us what they're going to do. What's frightening here is that what you're about to tell people is exactly what I saw on The Event 30 plus years later, which is now on NBC. Tell us how they came and took you. What did they do?
Okay.
Where did they take you?
That's funny because I just started watching the event, but I haven't gotten to that part, which is probably good. It might freak me out. Okay.
It probably will, yeah.
I remember. Oh man, thanks for the warning. I always remembered being taken as a very, very young child in the middle of the night by the very same two men.
What do they look like? What do they look like?
Well, it's funny. I think I knew who they were, at least one of them, and I'm not going to say who they are on the program.
Okay.
But one of them had a bodysuit on that was. I think this is the one that I would have recognized if he had not had a bodysuit on. I might have known who he was. I couldn't see his face, but I could see his build and kind of his features. I think I knew who that was. And the other one was just a regular, normal-looking person. Same two people. They would take me, first of all, when they would take me out of the house, they would drug me. And I can remember they would bring me back just before dawn. I would have nightmares as to what went on during that time, and the full memories began to resurface a couple years ago. But the flashbacks that I used to have, and then when the full memories came to me, it was an underground facility. That was one place. There were other places, but one was the underground facility, which I believe is MacDill Air Force Base. I live not that far from MacDill Air Force Base. They could have taken me by car, plane, or boat. I mean, we had an airport.
What was there, Carolyn? Were there other children?
Okay, what was there? They had cages. You know, like the old kind of zoo cages?
Yeah.
Like the thick, ugly-looking black bars. There were kids in cages.
What were they doing? What were they doing?
The kids were very, very afraid. They used the kids for experiments. There were sexual things going on there. The kids I knew they were taken from their homes. Some of them lived there. They never left. They were the same kids there every time I went. They had pleading eyes like, please, tell somebody I'm here. And I'd have nightmares that I should tell somebody about them, but when I'd wake up, the nightmare would fade. I was afraid to tell about them because I would be in trouble. And there were other children like me that would just be taken there for experiments or for mind control programming, and we would be taken home. And part of that programming also involved they'd have to take us to points of death and bringing us back. But that's kind of another story.
I take that, Carolyn. What exactly did they program you children? Now, you're 3, 4 years old, 2, 3, 4 years old here. What exactly did they program you to do?
Well, one memory I had is they were using other children to teach other children, showing that it's okay, making them think that it's normal to have like sexual relations with older men. That was one of the things, and had us playing with dolls to make us think that it was normal. Mm-hmm. And if we acted like it wasn't normal, then we would be punished for it. And that's one of the things. Other things, there was torturing of animals. There was skinning dogs alive. There was anything to threaten us and intimidate us, or to numb us, so that possibly we may want to do that to somebody else.
And your mother knew that this was ongoing with yourself? She did not?
No, she did not. And that's a whole other story that people can get into if they want to research other people's stories as to how that can happen.